My fellow pilots, good morning and welcome. 2 years ago, I stood before you with positive news. We were in the midst of a financial recovery and things were improving. And I advised that there was still a lot of hard work ahead, but I'm pleased to stand before you today with positive news again. ALPA's finances continue to remain strong and sound, and the future looks bright. Your hard work is paying off. Since the 2014 Board of Directors meeting, 2 new pilot groups have voted to join ALPA International. To echo Captain Knoll's remarks, I'd like to welcome the pilots of Frontier and Virgin America to their first BOD. They are part of our upward trend, coupled with the improving contracts and multiple pilot groups and the financial discipline all of you have shown in managing your pilots' hard-earned dues dollars. Throughout the rest of my report, you'll hear the numbers and see the trends that are pointing upward and numbers that are going in the right direction. In all aspects of this union, whether it is collective bargaining, calls to action, or fiduciary responsibility, this union exists because of its members. We are indeed powered by pilots, and all of you seated here today, today's ALPA, are thankful for your efforts in stepping up for taking the leadership roles in this association. Now let's go to the numbers. The audited results for 2015 show an operational surplus on a consolidated basis for the second consecutive year of $964,000. For 2015, ALPA dues revenue was $138.3 million, a 6.5% increase over 2014. So while some expenses increased as well, our increase in revenue offset the rise in those expenses, leaving us on firm financial footing. This slide highlights our financial performance through August 31st, 2016. Consolidated revenues against consolidated expenses gives us a year-to-date surplus of $27 million. This is the direct result of a team effort in action and something that we could not have achieved without your collective diligence. We've come a long way from the $16 million deficit we dealt with just 7 years ago. To keep this positive momentum going, we must continue to be measured in our actions, to provide the resources and services ALPA members expect and deserve, while still demonstrating sound financial judgment and recapitalizing our strategic funds. As you see here, our actual dues and projected revenues since 2009 have steadily risen from our post-9/11 low and are projected to rise again this year. You can also see that we've been conservative with our budgeted dues estimates, with actual dues revenue exceeding our projections each of those years. Understand, though, that while we've exceeded those projections the last few years, our industry is cyclical and inevitably will level off. To prepare for this outcome, we must continue to be responsible and conservative and to recapitalize our strategic funds to provide the needed reserves. ALPA's Operating Contingency Fund, or OCF, can be described in the financial world as a sinking fund, which is not a bad thing despite its name, with surpluses that are carried over from year to year. The OCF also receives 3.5% of dues income through ALPA's annual budgeting process. Thanks to your continued focus on financial discipline, the OCF fund balance continues to move in a positive direction. Indeed, the OCF fund balance has recovered from the lows of 2008 and 2009. Just 8 years ago, the OCF was depleted. Depleted. That's a fancy accounting term for broke. However, today's available balance of $16.1 million will ensure that MECs have supplemental funds available to them to meet our members' goals and objectives. Finally, we have the association's Major Contingency Fund, or MCF. The MCF continues to be the association's most visible strategic asset, and the Board of Directors in the past has endorsed initiatives to protect and enhance this most important fund. Indeed, ALPA is making a concerted effort to rebuild this fund with $1.5 million of dues income allocated to the fund in the fiscal years 2015 and 2016. As you can see from the chart, our efforts are starting to take hold. For the first time in a long time, the MCF balance is trending up. Now, there's still a lot of work to be done, but this is indeed a positive step forward. I'm happy to report that ALPA's Executive Council unanimously approved next year's budget. For 2017, we estimate $163 million in dues revenue, which is an increase of 13.8% over the amount in 2016. It's important to note that with this budget, the association continues to advance our strategic priorities and support our pilot groups involved in contract negotiations and mergers. The revenue growth in 2017 is being driven by improved contracts, modest growth, profit sharing, and the welcome addition of 2 new pilot groups. As I mentioned earlier, our finances have improved to the point that we are in the process of recapitalizing our strategic resources, recapitalizing them after they were drawn down as we dealt with the financial challenges of the previous decade. In 2015, we were fortunate enough to have a $2 million surplus, and the Executive Council allocated $1 million each to MCF and to Project Amber. In 2016, a similar amount was allocated equally to the MCF and Kitty Hawk, our captive insurance company. For 2017, the $9 million surplus will be allocated as follows: $4.5 million to the MCF and $4.5 million to Kitty Hawk. As I said earlier, the MCF is trending up for the first time in years. Now, that's in no small part due to the high priority that you, the Board of Directors, have assigned to it in ALPA's strategic plan. And the fiscal discipline all of you exercise, it is what allows all of us to execute on that plan. The Administration and Support Account, or A&S account, funds ALPA's national committees, departments, and operations. Expenses cover employee salaries, property rental and maintenance, flight pay loss, and meeting expenses. As you know, the A&S account is ALPA's largest account. The $82.9 million budget for 2017 represents a modest 4.6% increase over the last year. This modest increase is, in part, due to improving and updating our daily systems and network operations. Now, show of hands. Before today, how many of you have ever even heard of Project Amber? Some, but not enough. But that's okay. We've talked about it today. We're going to continue talking about it now and into the future. In the 2014 strategic plan, we set forth on a systems modernization project, something that we've called Project Amber. Even if you don't know it by that name, chances are you've seen some of the results of that effort. As you see on this slide, the benefits of the project are many. Mitigation of the risk of ALPA system failures, streamlined operations, improved member services, enhanced analysis of ALPA's operations and transparency, and augmentation to ALPA's capabilities. Before we started on this project, our systems were, to be kind, outdated. Not deliberately, of course, but we were operating on a network infrastructure with an expiration date that passed long ago. And not only was it insufficient for today's technology, but it posed a potential financial threat to the association. Unexpected crashes could incur significant financial impact. This much-needed modernization allows us to do much more for our members and for volunteers like you. This represents a significant financial investment that will pay dividends for many years to come. Perhaps the most visible upgrade on the Project Amber is our website development capabilities, but there's much more to it than just that. In April of this year, we rolled out a new expense system for the association, Infor-XM. In August, our financial department implemented a new accounting system, which is the initial step towards improved reporting and analysis capabilities that will become available to all councils and committees. All of these improvements, and more to come, will enable the various components of ALPA's infrastructure to interact and communicate more effectively while offering additional levels of protection and service to our members. The new system will also provide our members and pilot volunteers with easy access to more of the information that they need. Next year, we have 4 main objectives planned. 1, new financial reporting features that will make life easier for our treasurers. 2, a new membership system. 3, enhanced member insurance online capabilities. And 4, an improved MEC toolbox to make it easier for MECs to communicate with their members. We're working hard to make sure that our volunteers have the tools that they need to do their jobs. We've listened to you when you told us how hard it is to get and keep volunteers. This is abundantly clear in many of our MECs. As soon as you recruit and train them, they're hired on at another carrier, and then you have to start the process all over again. It's a good problem to have on a personal career level, but for the overall pilot group, it's certainly an issue with stability in your pilot representation structure. So, we're doing things to assist. Starting this year, we introduced computer-based training that will make it easier for your new volunteers to get up to speed quickly and provide the level of services that your pilots expect. They won't have to wait until the annual Leadership Training Conference. They'll be able to watch the instructive video on duties and responsibilities. Please turn your attention to the screens for just a sampling of the modules. The goal, as the last slide said, is simple: to provide online resources for new secretary-treasurers and volunteers in general regarding ALPA's financial policies, procedures, and requirements. If a secretary-treasurer comes on board after the annual conference occurs, it won't take 10 months for them to get back up to speed. We have a module right now that provides a primer in budgeting, and coming soon will be computer-based training in both spending and reporting. And a Money Matters video is available for all volunteers when they first come on board. I hope you'll encourage each new member of your MEC and LEC to view this module in particular as part of their initial orientation. Of course, these online trainings aren't meant to replace the in-person conferences and seminars, but rather to supplement them. The in-person aspect of every conference is still extremely important, especially when you're also able to meet face-to-face with other pilots in your positions, as well as interact with ALPA's professional staff. But if you have a volunteer who can't make that conference or comes on board later in the year, you need to let them know that this information is available. They need to know that, and your members deserve that. That's where these online training videos become extremely valuable. You see, our theme this year is more than just a slogan. It's the essence of our proud union. Powered by Pilots is you. It's all of your volunteers back home, and it's all of your members flying the line who we support, the pilots we represent, protect, and defend. We are 54,000 pilots strong, and as we move forward, I urge you to keep that in mind. We're all measured in part by our ability to work together as one union, our willingness to speak with one voice, and we harness our resources to help those in need today, knowing that it could well be any one of us in need tomorrow. We will continue to look for ways to provide better, more effective services to every ALPA member every day. It's because of the work of the pilots in this room and in every MEC and LEC meeting that we are the leader in the aviation industry and a beacon of our profession. It is our legacy as well as our mandate. And I thank you for your work and sacrifice to protect both. On behalf of our profession, our pilots, and our families, you are the pilots who power this union. Thank you.